Introducing the Open Palm Podcast with host Jerome Shaw, available today on your favorite podcast platforms. The Open Palm Podcast is a positive, uplifting, motivational, and inspirational podcast. The host brings his insight and philosophy, and you can't help but gravitate towards his smile, his words, and his wisdom. Again, the podcast he hosts is titled The Open Palm Podcast. It's about inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas and topics. He'll also help you become more aware and in harmony with your own life, giving you a better understanding of your place in the world and using your skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. You can find the show today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. You can also connect with the host on Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's JROMESHAW on Instagram. Jerome Shaw with the Open Palm Podcast. Motivation, meditation, mentality. Go listen, download, and subscribe today.
There is a story of a young and rather boastful champion of archery. After winning several archery contests, this young champion challenged a Zen master who was renowned for his skill as an archer. The young man demonstrated remarkable technical proficiency when he hit a distant bullseye on his first try. Thwack. And then split that arrow with his second shot. "There," he said to the old man. "See if you can match that." Undisturbed, the master did not draw his bow, but rather motioned for the young archer to follow him up the mountain. Curious about the old fellow's intentions, the young champion followed him high into the mountain until they reached the deep chasm spanned by a rather flimsy and shaky log. Calmly stepping out onto the middle of the unsteady and certainly perilous bridge, the old master picked a faraway tree as a target, drew his bow, and fired a clean, direct hit. "Now it is your turn," he said as he gracefully stepped back onto the safe ground. Staring with terror into the seemingly bottomless and beckoning abyss, the young man could not force himself to step out onto the log, no less shoot at a target. "You have much skill with your bow," the master said, sensing his challenger's predicament. "But you have little skill with the mind that lets loose the shot." Think about that for a second. Is there a difference between talent and mental discipline? Is the skill with the mind the same as the skill that lets loose the shot? Skill with the body control, breath control, everything to do with muscle memory. Is that the same as the mental discipline it takes to truly be proficient at mastering an art? There is indeed a big difference between talent and a disciplined mind. Some say a disciplined mind is the most crucial element in mastering any art, that the mind is indeed the most powerful weapon. In this story, you can see well illustrated that pride cometh before a fall, that the young master could definitely show his talent and prowess with archery, thwacking 2 arrows in the same spot on a target while not moving and standing in place. But when tasked with doing it as the master did, on a moving bridge, swaying this way and that, he lacked the mental fortitude and discipline to do the same. These 2 scenarios well illustrate that there is a large chasm between a beginner and a master. But the only difference between a master and a beginner is that the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. How many times can you imagine that master had failed before he attained the mental fortitude and discipline to do what he did at a distance, on an unsteady ground, shaky ground, where death was at his doorstep, able to mentally hone in on his target and hit it unerringly. One might say the real talent is being able to apply your skills even in the most adverse situation without fear, hesitation, or doubt. Because of course we know that courage is not the absence of fear, but being able to perform in spite of our fear. Our mind can work for us or against us. Which will you allow your mind to work? Will it be your friend or your enemy? Take it from me and the old master. Do not allow the inner me to be the enemy. Use your mind as a weapon and as an ally and as a tool that will guide you on your own path to mastery. Thank you for listening, my friend. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, the Open Palm Podcast here in San Antonio, Texas. I pray you received an encouraging message letting you know that physical skills alone are not enough. There also has to be a sort of balance between the mind and the body. Once the mind is open, just like the open palm here talks about and suggests, that we are able to have many more possibilities than when we are closed, rigid, firm in our ways. Be open to new ways of thinking, new ways of thought. Be flexible with your mind, and all possibilities will be open to you. Share this episode with a like-minded individual, learning and growing, becoming their greatest version each day, using their mind as a weapon for good. Pay it forward so more can hear the message. And if this is your very first time receiving this podcast, definitely subscribe for more inspirational messages like this. And if you feel compelled to support, consider opening your browser to anchor.fm/jshaw. Clicking that support link there is much appreciated. Thank you to all the wonderful supporters who continue to donate and contribute to the podcast, sending you much love and light. Have a wonderful and blessed day or night wherever you are. And as always, take care, my friend. Hey there, my friend. So you've heard about Anchor, but do you know why it's the easiest way to make a podcast? Well, first off, it's free. It allows you to use creation tools that let you record your podcast right from your phone or computer. It also distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can't wait to hear yours. Let's see what you have to offer the world.